With only 14 days away from the NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers are getting prospects in for their 30 visits, and we are up to 16 known players who have visited with the San Francisco 49ers in this process, not including any of the guys who showed up for the local pro day. So let's talk about the names that have been added. We had multiple names just added today. And shout out to Steph Sanchez. She does a phenomenal job of tracking everything related to visits, meetings, formal, informal, all of that stuff. She has a draft tracker sheet. It's super awesome. Go to her Twitter page and you'll be able to find it. It's super cool. But let's talk about the names that have been added today. The 49ers had tight end Jackson Hawes out of Georgia Tech in for a visit. He posted to his Instagram. This is a prospect that I really like because he does kind of showcase some of those George Kittle attributes. Really good blocker, not a bad receiving tight end. He spent 4 years in the Ivy League before transferring to Georgia Tech. So he's a smart guy. He's a tough guy. He's a blocker and kind of fits kind of what the 49ers are looking for. I've mocked him to the 49ers just because I think he would be a good fit as kind of like, a Luke Farrell, Charlie Warner type tight end. The 49ers also had a 30 visit with cornerback Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. Now, this is one of my favorite prospects in this class because he reminds me of a Renardo Green clone. So very similar in frame and size, like 6'1", very light, about 175 to 185, 185 pounds. So not a big frame, but boy, he is physical and he excels in press man coverage. He will come down and tackle you very, very hard. He's a very tough nosed player, just like Renardo Green. They're very, very similar in my opinion. Now, one of the more polarizing prospects that the 49ers have had a 30 visit with is Shemar Stewart out of Texas A&M. He absolutely lit up this pre-draft process with his combine performance and what he did at the Senior Bowl, and just really showcased his elite athletic traits. But the issue with him is he is not a big producer in college. Just low sack numbers, and just didn't really, excel to the point that you would think someone with that elite level traits would. He's very raw in the sense of technical ability. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of his. I love his traits, but I don't love some of the film that I see on him. So he will be an interesting one. The 49ers had a 30 visit with Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville. Some potential options at number 11. You also had Mykel Williams out of Georgia, who came in for a 30 visit. He's an interesting one because he has, again, elite physical traits. He will most likely be a first round draft pick, probably taken in the top 20. So he's right in that range. He has a ton of upside and definitely could be a big time player in the NFL. So it'll be very interesting to see where he goes. The 49ers also had a 30 visit with Walter Nolen, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. He's a guy that I really like as a true 3-down defensive tackle. About 6'3", 296 pounds. But to me, he's proven he can do it in both the run game and as a pass rusher. I really like his ability to play. And it's kind of a theme, too. The 49ers have met with a lot of defensive linemen. Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, Omar Norman-Lott out of Tennessee. They have definitely been doing their homework for sure. And I'm a big fan of Omar Norman-Lott. I think he would be a great fit for the San Francisco 49ers, maybe on day 2 or day 3, or early day 3, I should say. And Tyleik Williams also has a ton of upside as well as the Ohio State defensive tackle. really proved to be a formidable force for that Buckeye team. A name that might cause some 49er fans to go into a bit of a PTSD fit. Kyle Williams, Washington State wide receiver, had a 30 visit. He is a really good football player. I know people won't be able to get past his name for obvious reasons, but he is a good football player. He's a really good wide receiver. He's a guy that I would not mind having on the team just based on his actual ability. But of course, fans are going to focus on his name. You also had the 49ers meet with offensive tackle Kelvin Banks out of Texas. I don't really view him as a tackle. He's more of a guy who can play tackle, but he looks like a guard. Like everything about him, he looks like he will thrive at guard at the next level, and for that reason, I don't think he's a guard that you would want to take that early. So it'll be interesting to see where he ultimately goes. His stock has been kind of sliding throughout, most likely for that reason. And so he probably wouldn't be a guy that I would consider at 11, but maybe the 49ers do. They also brought in offensive lineman Miles Frazier out of LSU. He's a guy who is pretty decent. He stood out to me at the Senior Bowl. Has some versatility to play tackle, play guard as well. He's 6'5", 317 pounds, moves pretty well. So he's decent. He really isn't too bad. But he strikes me more as like a day 3 kind of a guy. The 49ers have also brought in TJ Sanders from South Carolina for a 30 visit. This is one of my favorite prospects in the entire class. He's my ideal target on day 2 at pick 43. To me, he's a 3-down defensive lineman who can get after in both the pass and run game, which is, I think, what the 49ers should be trying to target. So I'm a big TJ Sanders guy. If they can snag him out of South Carolina in the second, I think that would be a huge, huge win. Landon Jackson is an intriguing one for me out of Arkansas. He also had a 30 visit. I wasn't impressed by him at the Senior Bowl. However, I was impressed with his film heading into the Senior Bowl. So I think for me personally, my evaluation is just struggling with that. I think I expected a lot more from him in one-on-ones. I expected a lot more from him in the team periods. And so I do think Landon Jackson definitely can be an end at the next level, who would be available probably in that 43 range. I probably wouldn't take him around until like 75 or 100, but even then, I would want other players like Femi Oladejo. I would prefer over a Landon Jackson. So we'll see. I don't think he would be a terrible pick. I don't think he would be a home run pick in the early second, though. The 49ers brought in multiple tight ends as well on top of Hawes. They brought in Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech for a 30 visit. He is a receiving threat, really good receiver from the tight end position. Has had some solid production at Texas Tech, along with tight end Harold Fannin Jr., who also came in for a 30 visit. So it does appear that the 49ers are definitely looking at tight ends and maybe a life beyond George Kittle. We do know Kittle is in the middle of a contract extension right now, but I think that he'll get extended. And for the 49ers, I think having a legit receiving threat would be awesome to see in their offense. They got Luke Farrell, who is a great blocking tight end, but I do think it would be beneficial for their offense to have a legitimate threat, and Harold Fannin would do that. He broke FBS records in receiving yards and touchdowns last year, so he's a big time producer. And then the last name on this list, courtesy of Steph Sanchez, is Mike Green out of Marshall. This was the first player that I posted about throughout this process. I think he's a great player. There have been some questions about his character due to some allegations, but honestly, for him to be able to still maintain his value where he's currently at, for the 49ers to bring him in, I would have to imagine that those allegations are unsubstantiated. So I think it's hard for us on the outside looking in who don't have the information regarding the alleged issues with him off the field. But if I had to read this, like, I don't see his stock dropping. I don't, because those things would get around, like, especially to your Daniel Jeremiahs and your Matt Millers who were talking to these guys. If there were legitimate character concerns, or, things with the allegations, I think you would see more of his stock take a hit. And because of the fact it is allegations and maybe there is no backing behind them, I mean, obviously, you don't want to be connected to those types of things. But he wasn't proven guilty of anything. So the player, he's a really good player. Obviously, there are questions off the field. Um, and it's unfortunately above our pay grade to be able to discern what that situation is. So we'll have to see what happens moving forward. But it does seem like the 49ers have shown interest in him. But those are the 16 names. I'll go through them again quickly. Tight end Jackson Hawes, Georgia Tech. Cornerback Kobe Bryant from Kansas. Edge Shemar Stewart from Texas A&M. Cornerback Quincy Riley from Louisville. Interior defensive lineman Tyleek Williams from Ohio State. Wide receiver Kyle Williams from Washington State. Defensive lineman Walter Nolen, Ole Miss. Edge Mykel Williams, Georgia. Interior defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott, Tennessee. Offensive tackle Kelvin Banks from Texas. O-line offensive lineman Miles Frazier, LSU. Interior defensive lineman TJ Sanders, South Carolina. Edge Landon Jackson, Arkansas. Tight end Jalen Conyers, Texas Tech. Edge Mike Green, Marshall. Tight end Harold Fannin Jr. And so far, those are the names that we have that are at least have been reported and or known to have been on a 30 visit with the San Francisco 49ers. If you would want to draft any of these guys, let me know who would be in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.